Kia ora, welcome to the Tim Show. I'm Tim Morrison. Now each week I invite a couple of buddies over to have a bit of a kōrero, we have a bit of a sing-song, and I show them some of my postcards from Hollywood. Ooh, and they're looking pretty flash too. I visit the whānau in New Zealand and around the globe, and I even score some A-listers. Now, this week we've got a Tim Show special, episode 3, involvement of the Kiwis. I'm talking Star Wars. We find out how they make us clones. And I catch up with Rena Owen and talk to the producer, Rick McCullum, and talk to the big guy, George Lucas. So, lightsabers on!
And how do you feel about that? Okay.
Wanna have you near me? I wanna have you hear me say it. Here's that rainy day they told me about, and I laughed at the thought.
I heard Discovery Zone's got this excellent new Men in Black laser adventure. Save the Earth from the slime of the universe, and they'll make you an honorary MIB agent. There's this video wall, and birthdays are blasted DZ. They're almost everywhere. Are you ready for the new DZ?
Will get cancer in the butthole. It'll burn and burn and burn. They won't be able to sit down because of the burning in their butthole. He can't sit down. He's got a burning in his butthole. He's got a fire. He's got a flame coming out of his butthole. God's going to have a flame coming out of your butthole. You're going to have a flame coming out of your butthole. If you thought that AIDS was bad, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Do you have a tail, or is that your hair in the back?
あ、ほら髪の毛と下に尻尾があります。
Hair and a tail. Wow. The best of both worlds.
私の髪の毛と尻尾はとっても自慢の髪の毛と尻尾なんです。ありがとうございます。
Yeah, it really such a unique little character. It's mesmerizing. Anyway, I forgot the question.
You know, might go off, or I don't know, what kind of practical jokes do you play?
Well, with my new chemistry set, thanks to Brie Larson, I do like to make stink bombs.
Welcome to the Bombadcast.
What is up, everybody? This is your boy, Gerry, the Canon Junkie, and welcome to yet another Bombad Thursday. It's good to see you guys here. So if you're new to the Bombadcast channel, I usually sit down with my buddy Scotty, me and buddy Scotty. Don't know exactly what I'm trying to say there, but me and Scotty sit down every Thursday. We do this, our main show, our piece de resistance, our the flagship, I guess you could say, of this little romp into YouTube land. And you're watching it right now. It's right here, the Bombadcast. Been seeing this the whole time. We've been doing the opening. A weekly Star Wars YouTube experience, guys. Welcome, you've arrived. But every Wednesday, my boy Scotty will sit down with one of those old-fashioned penny arcade games. He'll play around a bit. He'll have a bit of a cordiddle, and he will entertain you and beg you to buy him food. And guys, listen, you got to check out Bombad Gaming. Scotty's been doing a lot of really awesome stuff there. And every other Saturday, I do a little show called Hyperfocus, where I sit down with someone, usually from the Star Wars Twitter/YouTube space. And I talk to them about whatever they want to talk about. It can be Star Wars. It can be Jordan Peele's Nope. It could be, I don't know, how they like their eggs. Whatever literally is on the table. And we have a good time kind of hanging out and talking. And you also get a chance to call in at the end of the show. If you are watching live along with us. But guys, I am so excited to be here with you guys. And you know what? We got some really awesome people waiting in the wings here. And so let me go ahead and bring one of them in real quick here. We've got a returning guest, Gruge. Gruge, it's good to see you, buddy. Glad to have you here. And look, he's very excited for the topic tonight. And the topic, of course, is we're talking Jordan Peele's Nope. No, this is not Hyperfocus, but you know what? We're going to roll with it anyway. And it's good to have you here, Gruge. Gruge, ladies and gentlemen. But for real, we do have someone here. And I'm going to pull them in because we're having a little bit of a thing here. Scotty will, I believe, be back and everything, but he had to run and take care of something real quick. But joining me tonight is, well, I'm just going to let her speak for herself here. I'm going to bring in the wonderful Regan. Hi, Regan.
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
I'm sorry that I'm once again eating on screen. I'm a disgusting human being. I can't help it.
Have you watched this show? I literally ate, I ate a pie during Potathon. I'm pretty sure. I think it was Potathon. It was our Potathon hype stream. Like I literally ate 2 McDonald's pies, the greasiest, warmest pies you could ever have. But yeah, no. On Bombad Gaming, I ate a plate full of popcorn shrimp.
I just had while I was waiting in the wings, I during the videos I scarfed down a whole plate of cauliflower wings because I hadn't had dinner yet.
Hey, well there you go. And I live to serve. I like to play a lot of videos, and so I want to give you plenty of time to scarf your dinner down while you're getting ready to come on here and I don't know, talk about this a really good, well-made film, and you were telling us backstage, you have thoughts and everything on it, and so and we all do, and I think one thing we can all agree on is that it is a very well-made, it's very cinematic, and
absolutely. I
don't know if you agree with this kind of telling of it. Or with my read on it here, to me, it's one of the best, or I think it is Jordan Peele's best. Myself, but it's been a minute. And also I'm biased because I like UFO shit. So, but where would you rank this on Jordan's films so far? What do you think?
It's
just because we love ranking,
because on a purely technical, purely cinematic level, I would definitely say it is leaps and bounds, even though Get Out is a fantastic movie. Like just in terms of skill as a filmmaker, I'd say it's leaps and bounds. It shows tremendous growth from Get Out, but story-wise and in terms of the narrative and just kind of holding me, it doesn't compare to Us, because when Us was finished, I walked out of the theater just in a daze. I was unsettled.
Yeah.
I was I couldn't sleep that night. I went to work. That was all we could talk about for the next week. And there was definitely like Nope is a very much a conversation piece. It is very, very much a think piece.
Oh yeah.
Maybe more than I wish it had been, because and I guess
Okay.
we can kind of get into this later. I feel like it's not necessarily just a Jordan Peele thing. I feel like as filmmakers have more avenues to be creative, kind of the way that we absorb and just kind of expect a story to unfold has changed. And no one, it's not really
absolutely.
It's not obligate to have a direct beginning, middle, and an end. And
right,
that works really well. And like Jordan Peele does the obtuse really well. But what kind of took points off the score of this movie, which seems like incredibly pretentious of me, who is no one, to say, is just that
stop. No.
But I just felt that there were so many excellent ideas, like shot after beautiful, like just absolutely jaw-dropping, stunning shot. It just didn't.
The cinematography is incredible.
So incredible. And like as like you guys said, like homages to Close Encounters, like the entire third act is an homage to Jaws, like from the dinner scene on. And
oh man, absolutely.
Like, and it's you could tell it's absolutely a love letter to those movies. I just wish I left, when the yellow credits like rolled at the end, it was kind of like in the same way that when Us ended, I was like, what just happened? But it was a different kind of what just happened, because like I knew, like I felt that it was going to end kind of abruptly, and I felt like I knew what he was saying, but I still felt that there were a lot of little vignettes and stories that felt like they were leading to something other, it was like a shoe that didn't drop.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I can't, like, I walked out and I posted on Twitter, like, I cannot criticize this movie or say that I didn't enjoy it, because up until the very last second I was glued to my seat. I just kind of felt like so
yeah. No, and I remember leaving the movie theater. I remember going to the car. I think Scotty had already seen it, and a friend of the show, and friend in general, Adam Frazier had also seen it, and we were kind of in like a little group chat on Twitter that, I was like talking to them, and I left the theater thinking this is this generation's Jaws, and I don't know if I'd quite go that far, because like you said, it is more of an homage, but at the same time, it to me, it feels unique enough to stand on its own, but it definitely evokes that feel.
Absolutely.
I mean, more so than even the Close Encounters. Close Encounters is almost just like a kind of, you chuck that in there because it's as you think, and we are going to be getting into some spoilers and stuff tonight, guys. So if you haven't seen Nope, just say nope to this and go ahead and get it out of there. And also, I love that Regan, you can't see Regan's handle on here right now. I think is the Bombad border. No, where are our handles? What the hell? We got no, where are they? I guess we're not. Anyway, I guess we're not doing show display. Here we go. There. Yep. Which I think is very clever. So I appreciate that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna leave these up here because anyway, again, really good. But yeah, I don't really know. Like, and I was talking a little before. I think this movie did traumatize me a bit, which might feel a little. I know some people might kind of be like, "Oh, really? Like, what are you talking about trauma and stuff like that?" Like, I don't mean like
you're such a soft and gentle soul, though.
I know. Well, and I'm not going to like, talk about how much it ruined my life and everything, and all that kind of stuff, because it didn't. Again, it was a great cinematic masterpiece. Like, I shudder to use masterpiece, but at the same time, like, it was this was the first movie in a long time that I felt this is why they make movies and stuff. Like, so, honestly, since I think probably Knives Out.
Well, you know what I felt
back a couple years ago,
like the balls on him You know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah.
and I
Oh,
know it's
ginormous.
Hollywood. Like, his last two movies
Pendulous.
made a lot of money, so he gets a lot of leeway for sure. But
Right.
there is a time, you know, not too long the road that if like not like you showed those I can't talk. Not too long ago down the road that you
Okay.
would show storyboards of that movie to a bunch of old-timey billionaire movie executives, and they would just be like, huh? You know, and
They'd hand them a list of extra of you know alternate titles like, here,
Right.
name it
Yeah.
Escape from Burger City or
Right.
something, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And that list, I know what you're talking about in that list. What there was
Yeah,
one
right.
there was one, what was the last movie on that list that it cracked me up so hard I was
have it,
crying.
actually.
It was so
Keep-
ridiculous.
Keep talking. I do have it here.
But what I was gonna say is, like, you know, I think especially with us, it proved that kind of a very out there, very kind of hexagonal story could make money, that you could really honestly, I mean, because if you think about what the advertising for us was, it didn't give a lot away. It was just a really well shot poster with Lupita Nyong'o, you know, with these wide vacant
Right.
eyes and a scar, and you didn't really like there. It gave nothing away. So all of the all of the box office of that movie really came from word of mouth, from people walking out of that movie and being like, "Dude, you have to see it."
Right.
And I think that because of that, it allowed him a lot of leeway, and I think he took even more than that. Like, he just kind of Nope was it's very clearly a passion project. It is very clearly him making art for himself. You know, he was creating as he wanted to create. He did what I think he always does, which is try to tell a kind of interweave a very modern and relatable social tale with with the fantastical and the supernatural, and in that regard it was really above and beyond. I think that I might have suffered from what I felt like a lot of people, especially people of my particular skin tone, kind of suffered from, which is where's the morality tale in this? It's got to be, and like waiting for that shoe to drop, which I think it slightly does at the end, because there definitely is a moment where I feel like a lot of people are holding their breath for Keke Palmer. But I think maybe when upon a second viewing where I'm not expecting it to all weave together and kind of tell the story in the way that Get Out did, and to some degree the way that Us did, I might have very different feelings about it. But I felt like everything in it was such such a chunk of different, really interesting creative expression, really different takes on things that we deal with as humans, like unresolved trauma, and and which I think is the case for both 2 out of 3 of the main characters in the movie, and legacy, and having to carry on a business, and struggles with the economy, and even with, I believe it's they have Donna Mills as the Dolly Parton esque actress in the beginning, just the dynamic between people of note and people of celebrity and normal people around them, and how just especially I think he used the pastiche of them being horse trainers, because it's very anachronous to what we expect characters like that to do as a family business. So I think that was meant to turn things on its head very much. And I feel like I have so much to say, and I don't want to put it in the wrong place in the podcast, but everything that he did was every 5 seconds I was going, oh, that's brilliant, oh, that's brilliant. I just and then I kind of left it, and I'm all of those things were brilliant, and I wish that they had sort of connected in maybe a more linear way than was fair of me to expect, but it's still kind of how I felt,
Well, yeah, it's just kind of insane the way I don't know, the way it's so jarring a little bit, the way it starts with the I don't know, you go in there, you've seen the trailers, none of this was in the trailers, the flashbacks to the sitcom tragedy, and to start it out there again, brilliant, but it does, like, it hits you like a sack of bricks. It's like, oh my God, what are we want? What is this? What does this have to do with anything? So and out of the gate, you're like, okay, what's that got to do with any of this? The whole time, until again, Stephen Yeun's character shows up there, and we start to get like, he's kind of capitalizing on his trauma a little bit, which is an interesting take on, like, that to me feels a little bit like not a chastisement, but just like a mirror to some social media kind of stuff or anything, or like, like celebrity, like, people being more open about their stuff, which is great. But, there are people who will, kind of capitalize on that kind of stuff. But like, it's just, well, the price that it pays, because you can tell that it still bothers him, but he's like, this is what people want. They want to come in here and see the museum, my stuff.
Also,
like people have a morbid curiosity.
To his credit, he did a really good job of playing it very much like a person, and like, not to get maybe more personal, but I feel like because I can kind of relate to this, I have had kind of a lot of family tragedies, and especially like shortly after my mom died, I don't think that I realized how traumatizing that was for me. And like, like, you have people ask you questions about it and like confront you about it. And like, I went through the whole funeral and then forever, because she died pretty suddenly. And like for weeks, people would just come up to me and be like, what happened? And I have to tell the story over and over again. And I thought he did such a tremendous job of like being the person who's telling themselves completely internally that none of this bothers him. Like, he's just, I've told the story so many times that, like, it's old hat. Like, it's funny now. Like, I have this memorabilia, and you can just like, he's got this incredibly like, like he's smiling, but behind this really blank stare of this guy that has just not done any of the work to actually process what he's been through. And his way of coping with it is trying to control nature, because he didn't learn his lesson the first time around.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. No. Sorry, I didn't mean to stop you there.
No, not at all. But I just thought he did it. He was really tremendous. And somebody, when I was also like walking out of the theater, said something to the effect of like, he just didn't have like, I don't know. He had like no affect. He wasn't, he just was like he was kind of very neutral, even keel. Like, and maybe that was the whole reason they made him a cowboy, because like, he's supposed to be an absolute cool guy. And I thought it was the exact right choice for the character, because he is doing everything to project disaffected when internally he is destroyed,
Right. Yeah. And like you said, again, the whole, the way that people don't deal with their trauma a lot of times, the way that it is like I'm going to just kind of swallow this and not deal with it. And however you control it, whatever. I don't know. It's just, it's never a healthy way unless you actually deal with it the way that you're supposed to. And again, he never did. And so now we've got, and the theme of, which seems like I think on the surface seems like the biggest theme, the theme of, attempted to control nature a little bit, thinking I don't know, like, because we are maybe slightly more intelligent, evolved beings, like, oh, we kind of get a pass, or we're like, we're impervious to some of the consequences of nature, when in fact there's a huge sequence in this movie that is the one that absolutely traumatized me, that proves that there is no like, nature's no respecter of persons, age, gender, whatever, like whatever your bank account says. It doesn't matter. Nature, like if nature turns on you, you will die. It doesn't matter. Which again this is very dark and everything. But again, Jordan does very dark themes, yet somehow makes it entertaining and thought and like hopeful and things like that. Ends up putting a lot of levity in, which I mean, of course, he has his background in comedy, of course, but no, it's I don't know, like it is. It's been a chore. Like I didn't rewatch the movie before I came to talk about it tonight. And part of it is because like it's not available to rent yet and blah, 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 blah. But I also am just a little, it took so much out of me, frankly. It took so much because again, it's, it's that whole, I don't know. It's just, it's a very loud theme. It's loud in some parts. It's also very, it hits kind of home. And so, but anyway, so let me try to think here. Let me find, let's see. I'm sorry. I got to get to our notes here. Guys, you love this, don't you?
You know, also, I guess while you're doing that, I'll say that,
please,
you know, to kind of go back to what we were saying about Stephen Yeun, like I realized towards the middle of the movie that like I thought they were setting up something that would come full circle later, which they, you know, it kind of obviously does. But I also think that it was very important to transpose, you know, I thought it was mainly about the chimpanzee, and I realized later on that it was 100% more about the scared little shaking boy completely transposed with this person who acts like it's just a thing that happened, you know, like it didn't affect him, and you kind of know and you see as the thing that probably traumatized you terribly is about to happen to him, and the reality dawns on him, like that expression kind of creep down, that terror creep down over his face again. And again, he just played it so brilliantly, and I feel like it's such a credit to him because he's in this silly like rhinestone costume the entire time. You know, and I liked the fact that the most terrifying scene of the movie is kind of in the juxtaposition of an amusement park, because the whole idea of an amusement park is supposed to be that it takes you out of everything and people go there and they feel safe, like nothing bad can possibly happen here. And you know, it plays upon like kind of like these most primal fears that we have about these places that we consider safe, which is kind of a theme that he touched on in Us, because you know, like underneath the amusement park, which was in that movie also the amusement park from Lost Boys, you know, there's all this evil bubbling below the surface. Did not know that.
I honestly haven't seen Lost Boys. Don't hit me.
Well, you got like how many months left of October? Correct that.
I know. It needs to happen. It needs to happen. Boop is going to watch this now, and they will change it for sure. But yeah, no, that, and so we would be remiss real quick though if we did not mention that was the most Bombad scene as well, right before the scene that did. Again, it very much traumatizes me, and I'll get into kind of I can get into the nitty gritty. We don't have to, but like that scene did have, and the one survivor actually of that attack was the icy machine. And so, and again, if you watch this show, you know that, I mean,
Icy should sponsor this show. Like, what are you doing? Why are you not sponsoring the show?
It's coming. You know, we've listened contracts and
Icy sponsors the worst pizza parlor in my neighborhood. They can sponsor this show. I'm just saying.
Listen, we need to. Is it owned by someone named Charles Entertainment Cheese? Because you know we're kind of making that our brand too, apparently. Yeah, Brian, you didn't know? We do. We listen. We've made our mark, and Icy's just another rung on the ladder, man. That's all I'm saying. But no, oh, here we go. William's in the chat. William, what's up, buddy? Regan is amazing.
Thank
also
you.
Agree.
I know.
But yeah, no, so the thing that's most effective to me, and like you are absolutely nailing the themes on the head and everything. Like I get up at 3 a.m. for work this morning, so I feel like I'm just kind of stumbling through it. but I'm trying to remember what I watched in July. But the juxtaposition you're talking about with the families at the theme park and everything, the fact that the actress who got her face ripped off is visiting him there, and you see her, she's got like a picture of her back
And you
before
know
she gets
what
her face
is
ripped off on her. It's
wild
it's
about
so
that
wild.
is that they really they took that beat for beat from the actual woman who was famously in that terrible, I think it was Oprah interview, where she herself had gotten her face ripped off by a chimpanzee. That is like exactly the whole beekeeper outfit was what she was wearing in her interview. And I kind of wonder what
Really?
she
Wow.
feels like about that, because I don't know. I mean,
Right.
it's imperfect, perfect for this movie. I don't know if it was in the best possible taste, but you know, like it's like I think it also, like, her being there wasn't just for the shock value of seeing her face. It was the fact that there was no shock to him whatsoever in seeing, like, that's how
Right.
far gone he was from ever dealing with what actually happened to him. And I really like
Oh, yeah.
there's so many amazing performances in this movie. I do not want to make it all about him, even though he was amazing, because it's not his movie.
Right.
He's not the star of the show. But
it's amazing because he's not, but he is such a huge, like, he's almost like the linchpin on which everything the themes kind of hang.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
it's like him and Daniel Kaluuya's eyeballs are the star
oh my
of
god,
the show.
they could do a movie about like a staring contest or
Yes.
something, and just like 2 hours of them like side eyeing and like, you know, like eyebrows moving up and down. I would watch the hell out of it. But yeah, no, so like you said, you mentioned Daniel Kaluuya, and I don't know what it was about his performance. The way he played, and OJ again is such a very real character. It felt like a real person, such a real person. In fact, it didn't feel like, again, it felt like he had become this person again, which I know is like that's acting,
not
dude,
even
whatever. But
just
like
like
it just
a real relatable person, but a real relatable person who's also neurodivergent in a way that we all can recognize, you know?
Right. And that's, again, the thing that really kind of stuck out to me. Just like, and again, he's trying, like, you know, like, hey, you do this speech that your dad used to do, you know, to kind of like sell these executives on this. And he's like, I'm not good at it, you know, and just the whole, I mean, I don't know, the whole gamut of everything that he did, and the way that he acted, the way that he handled the situations, again, is just absolutely brilliant. And like you said, some great
power
looks.
Ultimately also with the beast, the monster, the alien, whatever, is that he doesn't make eye contact, which for me, someone who struggles desperately with eye contact, I was like, that's my hero. That's
right. Representation. Yes. No. But like, no, I mean, I kind of struggle with that a little bit too, you know. It is definitely it's so interesting. Yeah, because he's very good at it, right? Like it's crazy that is the superpower. But to have also his the relationship between him and his polar opposite but yet loving sibling, Keke Palmer, which, oh my god,
she's
was
got
phenomenal.
everything about to happen to her, like everything. Like she's about to, I mean, she's already blown up, but she's about to blow up, you know. She's just she was so amazing because her energy, I felt like was so genuine, you know. And I thought it was really interesting because, you know, we start off like when we first meet him, he is like the typical like dude in a hoodie who just gets ignored like everywhere he goes. Like, you know, people just have like their reticular activating. It doesn't happen for him. And you know, we see all of these kind of like up their own ass Hollywood people who actually probably are less talented at what they're doing than he is, have less craft than he has for what he's doing. He walks in they're all ignoring him. And, you know, you can tell, like, without them ever having to say this, without them giving too much backstory on him, this is clearly something that he's dealt with his whole life. And when Kiki comes in, it then becomes, there's a whole other layer to their family dynamic, which is instantly obvious, that is never explicitly explained in the movie, which is that, you know, she just consumes, like, she just takes all the air. The second she's in the room, she consumes all the attention, like, you know, and she probably has put in a lot less work doing the actual training, doing, you know, she's got to promote all of her other stuff. And he's just kind of standing there quiet and probably, like, clearly frustrated with himself for his inability to command attention in the way that she does, but also frustrated with her because she doesn't have the focus and the dedication to the family business that he does. But the love between them is still incredibly palpable, you know, and their dynamic is like, it's very, like, I don't have siblings, but it's very real to a sibling relationship.
It's very heartwarming. It's very heartwarming. It was just such a I don't know, it was the warmest thing in this movie,
right?
Frankly.
And, you know, it also, he continues the like the kind of the overarching theme of the movie, which is trauma, which is he is also not dealing with the trauma of losing his father in a random weird like,
right, and him being right there when the accident happened too is just yeah.
You know, but I also think that the movie itself, like all of the events of the movie, are ultimately him. That's the difference. He's processing the trauma and ultimately does by the end of the film, and he's mentally in a better place. And Stephen Yeun's character never does, and it consumes him very literally. So
right, absolutely, yeah. No, it's, and again, so it's
I think as we're
symbolism
talking
out
about
the
this, I'm
ass.
like, oh,
Okay.
actually, no, I really like it. Like, now that I'm actually talking it through.
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
You know.
Right, and again, like it makes me want to rewatch it again. Like, so Regan and I tonight, guys, are counseling each other, I think, about this movie. You know, like her counseling me to go, dude, just like suck it up and watch it again. It's a great movie. And you also like saying like all the there are like so much there. You have the themes, and then it just, again, it's a Jordan Peele movie. The levels just keep going down and everything. Like it gets deeper and deeper and deeper. Hold on here. Trey, baby, listen, don't get jealous. What's up, Trey?
Hello.
Yes, and go check out Mile High Cinema, by the way.
I don't know why I'm talking to Trey like he's a cat, but yes, check out Mile High
Hi,
Cinema.
Trey.
I was on it too.
Right. There you go. Yes. Yeah. Two great people have been on the podcast, so go check out Trey's podcast, Mile High Cinema. Oh, and we got, Jared is also here, ready for Jean Jacket and Cookie Cop discourse. Listen, oh man, I don't know if I'd quite consider Jean Jacket a demigod or an eldritch being. I don't think so, really. I mean, maybe possibly worshipped by people a long time ago, but who knows? Maybe he helped build the pyramid. Apparently,
try to tame Jean Jacket, and I think that is where Cookie Cop would meet his end. That, I know those are big words, but
yeah. It would be hard, you know, and then there would just be like cookies being shot from the sky instead of people's keys and things of that nature. But yeah, so I think an interesting crux about this movie as well, and it honestly, so I think a lot of you know I am kind of a little bit of a paranormal junkie as well as a canon junkie kind of a thing. I kind of love that kind of unknown kind of stuff like that, you know. And again, mutual friend of the show, like our mutual friend of the show, Boop from Nerd Herder, like we both are kind of like into that creepy stuff. I mean, not so much that we think that everyone in the government is lizard people and that, you know, like we're gonna go storm any capitals or anything. No, because we have brains, but just being interested in kind of like UFOs and things of that nature, you know, even not short of having experiences with certain kind of things like that, which me and Boop will be talking about at the end of the month this October. So come for our personal experiences on Bombadcast at the end of the month. All that to say, we went in thinking it was a nuts and bolts UFO. And the fact that, again, Jean Jacket, as it is called, as it is lovingly dubbed later, is actually the twist that it is actually a living, breathing entity is a little crazy. It threw me for a loop, and I'll admit, Regan, again, the little UFO nut inside of me was like, I'm a little upset that it's not that. But did you know, and this is fun fact corner right now, did you know that there's actual accounts of this kind of quote unquote unidentified
Didn't
aerial
know,
phenomena?
and I don't think I wanted to know that. Thank you.
Well, and it's not the eating people part. I haven't found any that said that, but I do actually, if you don't mind, I will read a little bit of something from the 1920s.
If I don't
And there's
sleep
not-
tonight, I'm gonna be so mad at you.
You can send me text after text. Say, you better wake up, you bastard.
I'm gonna have Cookie Crop send you nudes.
Oh my God. Please no. I don't want to see his chocolate chips again. Let me pull this up here. Where is it? Here we go. Gargantuan gliders. Aha. So I'm pulling this from a website that it's a website for a podcast called let me see, the Cryptonaut podcast. The website is actually Cryptopia. And it's just these guys who really, again, kind of like Boop and I, love the cryptids, the weird stuff and things like that. And they specifically hang in the weird, really like what people say they really did see this kind of stuff, which is the fun stuff. But anyway, so in an October 1959 issue of Ray Palmer's ufological periodical Flying Saucers, a letter by a pilot named Don Wood Jr. Was kind of, well, it was published in 1959. This happened, let's see, in 1925, though. The experience happened in 1925. This is a excerpt from a letter he sent to a friend. He says, I must write you of what happened to me. Again, this sounds like someone from 1920. We don't talk like this anymore, but it's very proper. Here we go. I must write you of what happened to me in 1925, which I think solves most UFO reports. I have never told this to anyone, but can get signed affidavit if needed. 4 of us were flying old Genie's 065 motors. So it's like he talks about the liquid cooled air. He starts talking about the engine of his aircraft. Basically flying little biplanes kind of things. Over the Nevada desert. One plane was a 2-seater. The one he was in, one plane was a 2-seater, and the one I was in was a 1-seater. We landed on a flat mesa near Battle Mountain. So they were, again, over the Nevada desert. They landed on one of these mesas here. The mesa is about 5,000 square feet, and the walls are too steep to climb unless a lot of work is done. So they had a lot of room to land on this giant thing. We wanted to see what was on top of this flat place. We landed at 1 p.m. While walking about the top of this place, we noticed something was coming in for a landing. It was about 8 feet across and was round and flat like a saucer. The undersides were a reddish color. It skidded to a stop about 30 feet away. This next you won't believe, and I don't care, but it's the truth. We walked up to the thing, and it was some animal like we'd never seen before. It was hurt, and as it breathed, the top would rise and fall. Listen to this, making a 1/2-foot hole all around like a clam opening and closing, kind of a thing. Quite a hunk had been chewed out of one side of this rim, and a sort of metal-looking froth issued. So it had been bit, basically, and it looked like metal stuff was coming out of it, like liquid metal, kind of a thing. This is getting really weird. When it saw us, it breathed frantically and rose up only a few inches, only to fall back to earth again. It was moist and glistened on the top side. We could see no eyes or legs. After about 20 minutes rest, it started pulsating once more. We stayed 10 feet away. And so help me, the thing grew as bright as all get out, except where it was hurt. And it had a mica-like shell body. It tried to rise up again, but sank back again. Then we saw a large round shadow fall on us. We looked up and ran. Coming in was a much larger animal, 30 feet across. It paid no attention to us, but settled itself over the small one. 4 sucker-like tongues settled on the little one, and the big one got so dazzlingly bright that you couldn't look at it. Both rose straight up and were out of sight in a second. They must have been traveling 1,000 miles an hour to get so high so fast. When we walked over to where there was there was an awful stench, and the frothy stuff the little one had bled looked like fine aluminum wire. There was more frothy, wiry stuff in the 30-foot circle where the big one had breathed. This stuff finally melted in the sun, and we took off.
Wow.
Have fun sleeping tonight.
Yeah.
But no,
Cool.
so, and I'd forgot, I had heard this before I saw Nope. I was like, oh, cool. I remember hearing a story like this of like sky jellyfish or whatever.
Like I already like
I
every
forgot
time
how
see a
close it
weird
was.
Cloud now. I'm just like, weird cloud, and I will stay there and just be like, did it move? Did it move?
This did for what Jaws did for the water. This did for kind of like the sky. And I mean, like a little bit to a less degree, because it is a little bit like, obviously you don't hear about as many of living flying saucers eating people as you do, like, you know, maybe even like shark attacks, which again shark attacks are also very rare and everything,
Right.
but you usually hear about them a lot more than you hear about, you know, again, giant heaving clam creatures on mesas and everything. But I was a little amazed going back and reading that, how close it actually is. But that's something Scotty and I wanted to kind of touch on, is that Jordan, I think, either is into this or he did his homework, because
for sure.
It 100% is all, because I think people were like, oh, I thought this was going to be a UFO thing. It kind of wasn't. And some
But
people
I
were
was
like, oh,
really
that's an interesting take on that.
Like, I was really glad that it wasn't. I was really glad that it was something more just kind of nondescript, because I think that added so much to it. Like,
oh, absolutely. It made it more terrifying.
Yeah,
frankly.
completely. Like, you couldn't possibly gauge its intentions, what it was, you know, and it was also incredibly elegant and beautiful, I thought, like, you know, and like kind of like you could even see, like, even when they were kind of gazing upon it, and when, like, you know, Kiki sees the image of it that she'd taken for the first time, it's just a stunningly beautiful creature. It looks like something, you know, from the depths of the ocean that, like, you'd never be able to identify, you know. And I like the fact that they didn't particularly make it look sinister or give it, you know, make it look evil, because, you know, I think one of the worst things that movies have ever done, even if not especially Star Wars, is give people the mistaken idea that something incredibly dangerous would be easy to identify and look like, you know, idiosyncratically evil. So I really like that. And I mean, I did also like, you know, as we said earlier, the entire third act from the dinner scene on. And I have to give props to, number one, the fact that they resurrected Michael Wincott, who we haven't seen in movies in forever, and he's most famous from his turn as like the lead bad guy in The Crow, who kind of famously with filing screws a prostitute to death. Like, but he's just he's a great actor, and he's kind of he's often been relegated to movies that are pretty below him, but he was so absolutely perfectly cast in this movie. And
he absolutely stole that last act.
Oh, completely. And he was the perfect person.
The purple people eater thing, by the way.
Well, but yeah, but what a great riff on, like, you know, if you know me at all, you know that Robert Shaw's Indianapolis speech in Jaws is like one of, if not my favorite 15 minutes in movies of all time. So much so, obviously, that on June 29th of every year, I dress up as Quint and I pay homage to it. And
that's incredible.
Like, I thought the riff on that, to make it, to stage it exactly the way that scene is staged, down to the plates and the cups, and have him, like, you think, well, he's this weathered old actor a la Robert Shaw, you think he's going to say something so profound, and to just riff on it and make it so silly, like, and innocuous, just to, like, and that's how you kind of know like shit's about to go down, because it's so silly that like and it's like this moment of levity and all this tension that you just intrinsically know it's about to get so bad. and like really like it plays off so much like beat for beat the way the third act of Jaws plays, even to the way that the creature dies is almost identical. But it was, you know, it was not
absolutely.
like it was a love letter. It was absolutely clearly very much like an homage. And I, you know, like I loved the way that they did it. You know, and I have it open. I feel bad. I know like the other two actors that I wanted to mention were who in a much smaller part, Barbie Ferreira. I don't know if it's Ferreira or Ferreira. She's who's
So
also
hold on,
from
I've got the page pull up. I think.
Euphoria, who she's like such a scene stealer as the coworker in the electronics store, but I can't think of I have to look at
That
the
was
name.
fantastic.
The name of the actor who actually played like the quote unquote Best Buy employee who also
Brandon Perea.
yes, he was also, he's completely fantastic as just like this person who inserts himself completely into this, and he sticks with them. Like he's a very obviously underpaid minimum wage employee with a shitty job who just happens to have this passion for these things that are, you know, alien and paranormal, and you know, and he sticks it out with them. And you know, like I also kind of love that they don't really, I feel like I don't want to give too much away to people that haven't seen it. Like Jordan Peele does not, except I think with the exception of Michael Wincott, who you kind of just know his character is going to get it. He doesn't fall into the trap of fridging like the beloved main characters of the movie. Like he lets you off the hook and like lets them get out of it, you know. Although like to say like he still did, I think, or maybe that was just he's done such a good job of building up that specific tension. I still did feel like at the very end of the movie, when Kiki is at the well and she's finally gotten that shot that she was desperate to get, and that was such a great set piece of just like
so great,
like the tension and the stress of cranking out that picture. But when you hear the cops in the background and you know that they're coming and you know that all of these people have been murdered and disappeared, like I don't know, because it's a Jordan Peele, like, and he's done such a great job of making the cops be the secondary villain of everything, you know, which is also like, let's be honest, I don't want to, but like, you know, a lot of cops have done a good job of making themselves the secondary villain of everything.
No,
I'm
you're
sorry,
right.
like I know it's not all of you, but that needs to be said.
Stop apologizing for it. There are no bootlickers in this chat. We're good.
But you know, I was like, I had that sick worry for her, like in that moment
the whole time.
And
the whole set piece was edge of your seat stuff.
Completely, you know. And like again, it was stuff like that, like it was, and I think that's why when I felt like the ending, the rolled credits, even though I completely knew it was coming, it was so abrupt, and I was so like I was so on the edge of my seat with everything, and he had built up so much tension. And like, I guess as a parallel, I just finished a Sopranos rewatch, and it's funny because I felt very similarly. I don't want to spoil the Sopranos for anybody, but it's very similarly to the fade to black end of the Sopranos, when everybody thought their cable went out originally because it just fades so abruptly to black.
Oh, man.
And revisiting that, I kind of realized, I was like, no, actually that ending is brilliant. It's absolutely the exact right ending for the show and for that character. And I think, like, I don't know still if I feel that for Nope that was the case again. I really do feel that it is partially because all movies are suffering from this abandonment of structure, and like I think it has become kind of like a hallmark of a good filmmaker now to not feel obligated to give you a satisfying conclusion to anything, and that works sometimes. And if anybody can do that, he can do that. And if like regardless everything else in this film, there's so many parts that stand individually so well that he gets a pass for it. But I still think, like, I don't know, as a viewer and as somebody who loves movies as much as I do, I don't know how much more in me I have of sitting in a theater where I've been really invested in a movie for the whole 2 hours to just go, You know, like it takes something out of
Right.
you, like in that moment. And especially when like in a movie like this where there were so many creative choices. Like I'm dressed like this because I wanted to be like the colors of an inflatable man. Like
Yeah.
like the
Oh,
fact that he made
you nailed it, by the way.
like he made this, he very purposely made most of the movie very bright and very cheerful, you know, in
Right.
like a completely disparate from like the color palette of every horror movie that you've ever seen ever. And I thought that was such an interesting choice. And like kind of like even the way that he does something that is probably like the most extreme gore trope ever, like taken to the 10th degree of covering an entire house in blood, and again
Oh my
no one
God.
reacts to it whatsoever.
Iconic.
And then like
I'm sorry.
and you know, and it's in a field of like inflatable flappy guys of all different colors, you know. I also loved, I feel like we're very
More
disjointed
off-putting.
in the way that we're talking about this, but the way that
That's how we do.
his very obvious fuck you to TMZ, which was
No, so I wanted to bring this up
incredibly-
when you were talking
Yeah.
about the Quint you know, kind of connection and everything. The fact that that dude like crashes and is screaming and then gets eaten, right? And then that's how they can kind of hear it coming, is they hear the guy screaming inside of Jean Jacket. Like, oh my God. And at that time, that one traumatized me less. I was kind of laughing a little bit at that one, which, you know, again, makes me maybe a psychopath, but no, that was an absolute like F you to TMZ kind of a thing.
Can you imagine?
And they made that character seem so like, in the trailer, it's like, what is that dude's deal? Because of the mirrored helmet and everything. Absolutely nothing. Great, like a great red herring to kind of put in there, and just like what a great demise.
But also, like, you have to imagine as somebody whose celebrity, even though he was, you know, obviously doing Key and Peele and I believe Mad TV prior to that, you know, his celebrity shot up tremendously after his first film. Like, you have to imagine, and you know, he's married to somebody who's also on TV, like the life of just everywhere you go, you're ambushed by those fucking people just asking you the most inane questions. Yeah. And like, so, you know, it was a very like I just such a like a perfect, because also like the death of that character affects nothing that happens. It's just he's faceless, he's pointless, and like
literally faceless. It's
like,
just it's a mirrored mask. Like, it's so yeah.
But again, like that's kind of what I mean when I say there are so many elements in this movie that I'm like, oh, that was so brilliant and so great.
For sure. It needs a second, maybe third, even, you know, however many rewatches it
and
needs.
even like
there is
also
so much.
Like just like the, you know, and I know that like the album choices that they're dancing to again largely was just to be able to have an awesome soundtrack to this movie. But like just like the like I don't know, having like it was like they also did, you know, something that I noticed too was that you know, like because they have like the cell phones go in and out of working and the electricity goes in and out of working, but the only real like techie tech that you ever see in this movie is like the surveillance stuff that that the guy brought to them. Like he makes a big, I felt like, at least I think he very purposely wanted to make this movie as kind of Luddite as possible, even down to having Michael Wincott's character completely eschew like modern like cinematic techniques and just use a crank camera and have like the very end, like, you know, the picture, the most beautiful shot is ultimately taken on a crank camera. And I think it was like it was a really good choice to kind of strip everybody of their reliance on tech and kind of like bring everybody back to their most, you know, what for us now is our most raw and vulnerable state, which is kind of stripped of our devices, which is like being stripped of your eyes. You know, and it's another, I think, underlying theme of this movie is the way that people like choose to see things, the way that people view things, where you have Daniel Kaluuya's character who can never really view anything directly. And in a lot of ways that goes, it's a more kind of overarching thing in his life. He's not really viewing his problems. He's not attacking anything directly. He's just kind of existing in it until he's forced to. But that ends up, that ends up being his saving grace. And Michael Wincott, needing to view everything from his auteur's lens and kind of overcomplicating everything.
He wants the shot of a lifetime. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that's even, it tells you that in the posters, because what are all of the posters? They are people like looking up to the sky, like viewing something, and all of the, like, so much of this movie is about perception, of what is truly dangerous, what is truly a predator, what can be controlled, what cannot be controlled, your perception of the things that shaped your entire life, like even your perception of your traumas, your perception of your hardships, in the case of both Kiki and so I think that that's a very big theme of this movie as well. And I think that it was done really beautifully. Like, there were I can say this until I'm hoarse. There were so many just fantastic, interesting, compelling, just beautifully done themes. And, I again wish that they had connected more. I think as we talk it through, I am leaning towards the idea that they probably did connect more than I maybe realized on my first viewing. But
yeah, no, I know what you mean, though. It's like it is one of those films that there, like you're saying, there's a lot of moving parts, and again, like it's hard. The more I think about it too, the more I want to rewatch it. But it is like one of those. It's very heavy. It's very, there's very crazy elements to this, and it's it's absolutely. I don't know. Like you're making some good points here. I'm sorry. I was looking up the posters because you were talking about the posters. Them looking up. I, for some reason, thought that the Daniel Kaluuya poster, he was actually looking down, which I thought would be an interesting. But it's not.
No, he's just got those. He's got those sanpaku eyes where there's just so much white underneath his pupils. You know. So, and his just
incredible.
His ability also to give him so much credit, because he had a very hard job in this movie of having to really telegraph somebody who's kind of struggled probably with confidence issues, is dealing with a lot of sort of unprocessed pain, and who is very, very burdened by his family's legacy and by his finances. And they don't, he's not telling you that with a tremendous amount of dialogue. He doesn't say a lot of words in this movie. Everything is his face. Everything is his body language. And that was to an extent true of when we first saw him in Get Out, it was just that single tear, he portrays it so beautifully. But he did, it was a difficult job to be able to just tell us so much about, just to make this character so fully realized without, I don't know, he's probably got like 60 lines of dialogue, I think, in the whole movie, it's just, I don't know, he's always phenomenal. He's he's very reliable actor. And it was really one of the
assignment, as the kids say. I'm sorry I brought it up immediately, actually. So
but I do also, I have to point out, I tried to find it before we recorded tonight, but one of the pieces of press that came out specifically about him, kind of ahead of this movie, sort of suggested that he was a fantastic actor, but because of his physicality, he would be relegated to leading roles like this, where he was just a regular guy. And, I kind of just want to say, I think that's a little bullshit. And I think that there's room for, I don't think that we should have this very preconceived idea of what a leading man is, because the performance and the ability should dictate that. because there are
Right.
many more people in the world with compelling stories that look like him and look like just people, than
Yeah.
look
No,
like
absolutely.
Idris Elba or look like. So I that had
Right.
particularly
We
really
wish.
aggravated me, because it's such a failure to understand or comprehend what acting is about and what talent is. So that's neither here nor there. But whoever you are who wrote that, I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna shame you on Twitter. And I'm rough. So
Yeah. Oh, Regan pulls no punches. So let's just go ahead and pack it up. Go ahead and deactivate the account. It's over. It's all good. Pack it up. Time to go home. And but no, Regan, you're one of the sweetest. I mean, come on. But no, she will destroy you. But anyway, no, this is So frankly, I don't know. I might end up. I don't know. I'm probably gonna still wait until I can rent it or have a little extra cash to get this thing. But like I need to see it again now. I need to see it again. Like after this discussion, we have thoroughly counseled each other. I think we have. It seems like the counseling worked, frankly. And so, but no. Again, if you haven't seen this and you're watching this, we spoiled minimal things, and there's a lot to this movie, and we spoiled some things, but at the same time, just I don't know, go. You haven't watched the new Jordan Peele joint? Go do it. I mean, what the hell are you doing here? That's it. That's something that modern people do, is you watch the new Jordan Peele film when it comes out. So, but anyway, Regan, real quick. So, listen, we're kind of coming to a little bit of a close here, because I just think that I think that we both need to go reinforce our windows and, also learn meteorology so we can tell when clouds are being, a little fucky. But just thank you so much for coming on here and chatting it up with me and everything.
My
Like
pleasure.
even
I
with
was
the
so-
technical difficulties and stuff like that,
I was
just
so
thank you
excited
for
when I
showing
heard
up.
you guys were going to talk about this, because I just felt like I had so much to say about this movie. And I was really shocked that I thought when this movie dropped, I was like, why is no one on Twitter talking about it? Because very few people did.
Right.
And I was shocked by that, it had opened like 10 days earlier in New York, and I was supposed to go see it, but my boss hugged me and gave me COVID, so I didn't get to go see it.
Bosses are like that sometimes. Oh man.
But so I didn't get to actually see it until it came out. But I thought I didn't go on Twitter for 2 days, which is very difficult for me. And then I thought, all right, now I can talk about it because everybody's gonna be talking about it. And it was like crickets, this is nothing. And I thought, if nothing else, no matter how you felt about this movie, it's a discussion movie,
like you said at the beginning, a discussion piece. It truly is. This is a movie you sit on the mantle and pull down and go, have you met my Lord and Savior Jean Jacket? Kind of a thing. But no, it's criminally under talked about. Actually, I feel like there was that first day, maybe a little bit of discourse, not discourse, but just wow, nope. And then
there wasn't even when Us came out, YouTube was nothing but theorizing what happened in that movie for weeks. And there was just nothing like that on YouTube after this at all. I was shocked. I was completely shocked.
Yeah. Oh, it's again criminally under talked about. Is it under talked? I just created a new. There you go. Under discussed. Yeah. Anyway. Again, 3 a.m. It's getting close to that bedtime for me. But no, again, thank you so much for coming on and kind of helping again give me therapy for this. And again, I'm glad we were able to do that for each other here. But do you have anything you want to share? Anything you got coming up that you want to plug or anything like that? Do you want people to follow you on Twitter? Because you may not want that.
Yeah, it's fine. I used to be weird about it, and I will say, as somebody just found out this week, if you get weird in my comments, I will block you immediately. And I it doesn't happen that much.
As you should.
But I will just say, I understand that a lot of people on the internet are maybe a little bit ill-socialized and don't know how to act around others. But you should try and you should learn before you say things to other people. That's just all I'm gonna say. But yeah, you can follow me. I am at Regoba, OBAH on Twitter.
Yes.
You can follow me there, because if I get 100 more of you, then I can start doing Twitter Spaces, and then I'll get really annoying. So,
you know what's criminal? But we were talking about that you don't have enough to do spaces, because your spaces would be the fucking best. So go follow Regan. Go tell your friends to follow Regan at Regaba. Seriously, great, thoughtful, funny content like all the time. You, me, Peter Townley, we are all and Boop, we're all having a blast, like being some of the most the vagabonds of Twitter, I feel like sometimes.
but I also just feel like sometimes it's just like
the most niche content.
But it is the most niche content, and we're just having this very public, very weird Garfield-centric conversation with each other that everybody is forced to. What the most wild
forced
thing,
to
and I'm
watch,
so
but
sad
I feel
that
like
he's not
people
here.
are entertained.
My
Like, are you not
real life
entertained?
friends and some of my family members who know me on Twitter make Scotty jokes. They don't know who Scotty is. They just know that Scotty is a thing. He's like
Scotty's
an
a concept. And guys, Scotty will be back again. Like we kind of had a little like last minute thing. Everything's fine, but yeah, no worries. The concept will return. Our Twitter god, he will be back, and that is amazing.
I am sad because this is now twice
amazing.
I'm on this show that he's not been on. Like, is
Listen,
it me?
There's
Am
one
I the
common
drama?
denominator there. There's one
I
common
know.
denominator, Ray. No, I'm just like, and again, we're gonna have to get you back up. We're gonna have to do a redo, because like we're gonna have to tie Scotty to the chair or something, just to make sure that this happens. And we're gonna have an intervention.
What was the other
for
movie
this
that
man.
wasn't there just another movie that we figured out that you guys hadn't watched? That like,
There's
just like a month
I
ago.
have the weirdest holes in my game.
I know you
I've
have
seen-
weird holes, Gerry.
all of us have weird holes, but hey, it's just part of life. But I do like I think I come across as a very like well-rounded movie fan, movie buff. And yes, I'm a fan of the cinema. I worked at a movie theater for 8 years in the early 2000s.
Oh no! Oh my!
But I have weird stuff. Oh, are you good? Oh, I think we might have. Ray, did we lose ya? Oh my goodness! I hope that Jean Jacket didn't get Ray. Ray, blink twice if you're in Milwaukee. Are you good? Are you good? Listen, I'm gonna remove you for right now. But if you can hear me, it's all good. We will listen, guys. I'm gonna land this living carnivorous jellyfish that is the Bombadcast. But guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you for joining our Patreon, to our patrons out there. I would read the list, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. You know who you are. We love you all. But guys, come back next week for we have some spooky stuff in the works next week. Boop and I are absolutely going to try to scare the pants off of Scotty. Regan said her battery died. She's fine. She did not get eaten by a giant sky jellyfish. So we're all good. We're all fine here. How are you? But anyway, y'all, come back next week for some thrills and chills with actual live. If you kind of enjoyed a little bit of me reading about, kind of that actual documented case of, living UFOs and everything, come back next week. We're going to do a little bit of a haunted house story for Scotty. One of the most it's slightly famous. It's not as famous as it should be. Frankly, there should be a Netflix show by Mike Flanagan about this story we're going to go to. And actually, Whoops is back. Regan's back.
My battery died. I'm so sorry. I did not.
I thought that you got.
I
thought you were getting digested in the belly of it. Honestly, so real quick, this is the Star Wars connection between Nope and this is. That made me rethink being digested for 1,000 years in the belly of a sarlacc. That one scene. That's all I'll say. We'll have that. And also, I'm glad that you
especially because
being
then
digested.
you realize also that but you hear them, you can hear the screaming of the other people for they hear it for a day, so they're in there for a while.
I know the whole thing that got me with it. Again, we'll do this with it. I was doing my little plugs and stuff here, but you know what? Listen, you guys get a little bit more content and as to why this absolutely messed my head up. All these random people you don't know, women, children, men, all of it. dying in the worst way possible altogether. Just the sounds of everything. And honestly, someone had the subtitles on and you could really read what was going on. And that was worse. That was worse because there were sounds I missed or mistook for jellyfish organ noises that I'm like, oh God. Okay. Anyway, don't get eaten by don't look up, and don't get eaten by sky jellyfish. Everybody watch yourself out there, watch for weird clouds. And again, come back next week to get the pants scared off you by Boop and I, as we try to, again, scare Scotty's socks off. We've got a lot of really cool stuff coming up. And again, Regan, have you ever heard of the Sally House?
No.
Okay. And again, I don't know how many people are going to have show up for next week, but guys, come up here. If you like scary stories and stuff, this is worthy of a Mike Flanagan Netflix show. I can't believe this one hasn't been. This is how I've talked Scotty into this. It's so cinematic, almost. It's terrifying. It's so cinematic. It's like, it is like a real version of Poltergeist. And so listen, come next week. We're going to have a little bit of levity wrapped in there. Boop is going to leave their Ouija board out. We were going to use the Ouija board during it, but we're not going to now because we don't want to we don't want to turn Scotty's hair white.
Also, as a Regan, I can't fuck with Ouija boards. Like Regans traditionally, when they use Ouija boards, it doesn't go well for us.
That doesn't end well.
Yeah,
you usually end up talking pea soup.
Yeah,
you?
Exactly.
Yeah. So we can't do that. But again, I hope you will, stop by and also get a little spooked or something. I like a good spooky story, and this is a great one. Some great stuff. And I'll plug this again, because this is the thing. The worst part is going to be the end, because there is a what do you call it? You know how people go to the haunted houses and they bring back like a recording, like, oh, we caught something on this audio recorder. This is one of the most terrifying ones I've ever heard. And I don't want to say much else about it because I want you guys to experience it. But it will affect you almost like Nope affected me. I'm just saying. Maybe a little bit. But anyway, now that I get you all good and scared, and Regan, again, thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you for coming back, even though your computer tried to, make us think that you, again, were being digested. And I'm glad that you're not. So it's great. Again, great to be with you. Great to have you. We'll get Scotty on here with you. And you know what? To the rest of you guys, I don't know. Listen, we've been talking real deep. We've been like waxing philosophical. We've been talking kind of spooky stuff. So let's get a little bit of levity here real quick, okay? And then we'll say goodbye. I'll let Reagan kind of tell us what we should do here in a minute. But first, Gene?
I am hooked. Binge watching The Mandalorian. Oh my God. Unbelievable. It's on Disney. Check it out for yourself. I actually think it's better than the Star Wars movies. Just great.
He sounds like my Uncle Sam. Like he sounds like yes, I have an Uncle Sam too. He just sounds like somebody's grandfather. But anyway, he is actually, I'm pretty sure. Reagan, what should the wonderful... Oh, hold on. Sorry. Yeah. Groj was also here. Thanks for stopping by, Groj. We love you, baby. But Reagan, what should the wonderful Bombad people out there do? Hold on.
Stay Bombad.
Yeah!
Did you say impossible? Pasquale? Only kidding, Chucky. I've changed my tune because I finally thought of a possible dream that we can all share.
What is it?
Pasquale? It's a dream about a world when nobody is poor or sick or hungry.
Oh, now that's a dream we can make come true.
I'm gonna make a change for once in my life. It's gonna feel real good, gonna make a difference, gonna make it right. As I